So hi, my name is Neeraj. I am the founder and CEO of a brand called Noizzy Box. Noizzy Box is currently India's largest vintage speaker manufacturing company. We manufacture Bluetooth speakers. We've got more than 20 patents with us, and we manufacture for a lot of other big brands in India and other countries, right? So we are a authentic, proper manufacturing Bluetooth speaker manufacturing company, but we specialize for our brand Noizzy Box. We specialize only in vintage speakers. I went to Hong Kong for my friend's wedding. So I studied in Singapore. So most of my friends, are based out of China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Korea. Right. So one of my friend was getting married is a Taiwanese friend who was getting married in a small island in Hong Kong. So I went there for the wedding, and when we were coming back, my grandmother was like, "Okay, how was the trip? You've reduced weight. You've not eaten food. The typical stuff, right?" And then in the return gift, right, in the wedding, they gave me a small vintage speaker, like a tabletop or something that you put in your showcase. And I gave it to my grandmom, and my grandmom, instead of looking at it and saying it's wow, she actually started taking and turning the knobs, thinking that it will work, thinking that will work and create some sound or something. And when she was turning the knob, you could sense a glow, typical glow that you see in your grandmother, that wow, I've never seen her so excited. They are generally aloof, and she got excited with that, and then she said, "I want this that works. I don't know this, give me that." I'm talking 6.5 7 years, 7.5 years back. Then it took a 1 month, 1 year time for me to figure out that there's no company in India, and there's no company in Sri Lanka, there's no company in any country, right? So I called up a couple of guys in Taiwan. I asked my friend to, I want the exact model to be made, for my grandmother. I want to gift it to her and a couple of my friends. And then I found out one company in Taiwan, and I went visit the company, and he was a 87-year-old man who actually was making Bluetooth, was making radio devices back in 1980s and 1990s. So he shut down his company in 1992, okay, and his last division had a set of uh, uh, devices, the typical vintage radios, which we call vintage because that was his current product right now. So we took out his, I asked him for 6 devices, then he told, no, we don't have 6 devices. We had to make many more pieces. And he gave me an MOQ of 200 units. And he started off with 500. We bought it down to 200. Then I had no option but to get that 200 to 100 units, to India. And once I got it to Chennai, I gave it to my grandmother because there was no other speaker. There was no other speaker in the market 7 years back. And then we decided to promote it, to friends and circles. That was, now I've got around 200 speakers, and I don't know how to sell it because I was working for an e-commerce giant back then as the head of sales. And then I quit the company and figure it out that, okay, let's start selling this model, because since it's not available in the market, let's create a demand. So the balance units that I had created a spark, and it sold out, span of seconds. So when I could not only find people buying it and liking it, they're calling me back and saying, "Neeraj, you've given my father an amazing gift. I had broken my grandfather's radio back in the days, and now my grandfather kept scolding me, and now I have a chance to give him back." These were the words that were coming back to me, right? And you get a satisfaction, right? That, oh my God, is this the answer you're getting for your product? So that satisfaction drove me to, start manufacturing this unit. But then, my sad story then was that the guy who used to make it for us in Taiwan expired, right? Since he was very old and he expired. Then we had to run around 3-4 months in Taiwan, China, Korea to see if we can get these molds or we can get these models out. And that's how I was pushed into manufacturing, because my initial agenda was trading, buying out or outsourcing my manufacturing. But since there was nobody there to manufacture, we got into manufacturing. So since we got into manufacturing, we looked at the the ground level works that needs to be done to make a speaker a brilliant or make a speaker beautiful. In this process, I was let down because majority of the community people started telling that you're bringing back the old era. Why people left it and coming back to the new era? Why you going back again to the old? So I decided that my product needs to be very strong. My product needs to be very effective, and you understand what I'm trying to say, right? I mean, the product needs to be that good that nobody can tell that, boss, this is an amazing product. Only then will my company or my brand be able to stand. So we started doing a lot of innovations over the product, right? So we added a lot of modern technologies like Bluetooth, memory card, TF card, and so on. And since we started doing this, we started patenting our designs then and there itself. Now we've won more than 20 plus patents at one point of time, where we spent 70% of our revenues only in securing our IPs. So I would say my grandmother was the only source of encouragement that I could start and manufacture vintage speakers. So initial production was done in Taiwan, right? And then the old guy, I would call him my guru in vintage speakers, right? He expired. Then I had one of my other friend had booked another factory in China, where we could outsource our assembly unit. It's an outsourced assembly unit, like how we have virtual offices here where you can go and work. They have assembly, they have temporary assembly lines. So we started assembling one unit there, added up a chunk and then started shipping here. Then we saw a spike, and God's grace, I saw a lot of support from the whole state, because the retro started coming back as a trend 6-7 years back, and that was the exact time I launched the speakers. So I completely, my grandmother's or grandfather's blessings are truly there. I mean, I really believe that, because it's a miracle to bring back retro era. Well, there's nobody in the market, and imagine the money that we had to spend on marketing or educating the customer that retro is the future, retro is the thing to go for relaxing. We had it was a surprise for us as well, because in the Gandhi museum that they had opened up in 2019, they had asked for our speakers to put inside the device. So I think it came out in DD channel and other news as well, that our device, because our double XL Noizzy Box Retro double XL the frequency is so right that your vocal and your music has a perfect mixture. Yep. The vocal and the music has a perfect mixture. So your vocal voices are really cool, and that's when I think Albert Einstein was talking, and it came out in the news and all that our vintage radio is giving out the out. I was very surprised, when the guys from the committee gave us a call, and they give us this and give us that, and why you this, why that. The due diligence was very, 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 very tough. And at one point of time, why do we need it? Why do we need to give so much information out? But then the committee was never that I would say they were a step more than polite. And the way they were explaining over the phone, and it was like, yes sir, why not, sure, why don't we take it? And I was really surprised. And thank you so much, Fiki, and thank you so much, Indian Express, for coming up with such an amazing award, and helping us show increase our ray of hope.